Good morning, everyone. Anger is a powerful emotion that everyone experiences at some point in their lives. While it is natural to feel angry sometimes, allowing anger to control us can lead to unnecessary stress, damaged relationships, and poor decisions. But what if I told you that it's possible to live a life where anger rarely takes hold of you? Today, I want to share with you some practical ways on how to never get angry. The first and most crucial step in managing anger is to understand what exactly triggers it. Anger doesn't usually come out of nowhere. It is a reaction to something that challenges our comfort, values, or expectations. These triggers can be different for everyone. It might be a certain person's behavior, a particular situation, or even a specific environment. By paying close attention to what sparks your anger, you gain insight into your emotional patterns, which is essential for preventing outbursts before they happen. Identifying triggers requires honest self-reflection and awareness. Sometimes triggers are obvious, such as being cut off in traffic or being unfairly criticized. Other times they may be more subtle or deeply rooted, like feeling ignored or disrespected. Taking note of these moments can help you understand whether there are recurring themes. For example, maybe you find yourself consistently angry when you feel undervalued at work, or when someone interrupts you during conversations. Recognizing these patterns helps you anticipate and prepare yourself for future encounters. Once you know your triggers, you can work on strategies to reduce their impact. This might mean setting boundaries with people who frequently upset you, or changing how you interpret situations. Instead of immediately reacting, remind yourself that the trigger is simply a signal, an emotional alarm, not a command to respond aggressively. When you see triggers as opportunities to practice calmness rather than threats, you begin to weaken their control over your emotional state. Moreover, understanding your triggers can lead to greater self-compassion. Sometimes anger arises from deeper wounds or unmet needs, such as insecurity, fear, or past experiences. Recognizing these underlying causes allows you to address your emotions with kindness and patience instead of judgment. This self-centeredness creates a foundation for emotional growth and helps you respond to challenges with greater resilience and peace. One of the most effective ways to prevent anger from taking over is to pause and take a deep breath. When you feel the emotion rising inside you, anger tends to build quickly like a storm, gathering momentum. And if we act immediately on this surge, we often say or do things we regret later. By consciously stopping and focusing on your breath, you create a small but powerful break in the emotional escalation. This moment of pause graduation impulsively, you are ready to explore rather than react, to explode. Life grows forward rather than react. Deep breathing works because it physically calms the body. When you are angry, your heart rate increases, your muscles tense, and your body goes into a fight or fight mode. Taking slow, deep breaths activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which counteracts the stress response. This physiological change is crucial because it reduces the intensity of anger and helps prevent the physical symptoms that often accompany it, such as a racing heart or clenched fists. The practice of pausing and breathing can become a simple habit with time and intention. For instance, when you feel irritation or frustration creeping in, deliberately count to 5 while inhaling deeply, then slowly exhale. Repeat this process a few times. This small ritual not only reduces immediate anger, but also trains your brain to associate difficult moments with calmness and control. Over time, this habit rewires your emotional responses, making it easier to handle stressful situations without losing your temper. Furthermore, pausing to breathe creates an opportunity for mental clarity. Anger can cloud judgment and cause tunnel vision, focusing solely on the perceived offense or frustration. By interrupting this cycle, you allow your rational mind to re-engage. This means you can better evaluate the situation, understand the bigger picture, and decide on a response that aligns with your values and long-term goals, rather than reacting out of momentary frustration. Another powerful tool in managing anger is practicing empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. When we encounter situations or people who upset us, our immediate reaction often focuses on how they've wronged us or caused inconvenience. However, by stepping into their shoes and imagining their perspective, we shift from judgment and blame to understanding. This change in viewpoint can soften our emotional response and reduce the intensity of anger. Empathy helps because it humanizes others, reminding us that everyone has their struggles, fears, and motivations. Often people behave in ways that upset us because they themselves are hurting or stressed. By considering this, we move away from anger and towards compassion. For example, if a coworker snaps at you, instead of reacting angrily, you might realize they are overwhelmed or dealing with personal issues. This realization can create space for patience and kindness instead of resentment. Developing empathy requires active listening and curiosity about others. It means asking yourself questions like, what might this person be going through? Or why would they act this way? Rather than jumping to conclusions. This mindset shift can transform conflicts into opportunities for connection. When you approach difficult interactions with empathy, you not only reduce your own anger, but also encourage healthier communication and understanding. Finally, empathy nurtures emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize and manage emotions in yourself and others. When you cultivate empathy, you become more aware of emotional cues and better equipped to respond thoughtfully. This skill creates a positive feedback loop where your calm and understanding behavior can influence others to respond similarly. Over time, practicing empathy helps build stronger relationships and creates a more peaceful environment both inside and around you. Patience is often called a virtue, and when it comes to managing anger, it truly is essential. By cultivating patience, we learn to accept that life does not always go as planned, and we become more resilient in the face of obstacles. Patience is not something you develop overnight. It requires consistent practice and self-discipline. For example, when stuck in a long queue or caught in traffic, instead of letting irritation take over, remind yourself that these situations are temporary and beyond your control. Repeating calming mantras or focusing on your breath during these moments can build your capacity for patience. Over time, this practice becomes a natural part of your response system, reducing the frequency and intensity of anger triggered by minor annoyances. Moreover, patience allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. When you are patient, you give yourself the time to gather information, reflect on your feelings, and consider the consequences of your actions. This pause can prevent misunderstandings and conflicts from escalating. It also helps in managing relationships, as people appreciate calm and composed reactions rather than explosive anger, fostering a more harmonious environment. Finally, patience connects deeply with the understanding that life's challenges are part of growth. When you view difficulties as opportunities to practice patience, you shift from frustration to acceptance. This mindset not only reduces anger, but also enhances your emotional well-being. You become more adaptable and peaceful, no longer ruled by the need for immediate gratification or control. One of the most effective ways to avoid anger is to shift your attention from problems to solutions. Anger often stems from feeling stuck or powerless in a situation. When we fixate on what's wrong, our frustration intensifies, and we lose sight of possible ways to improve the circumstances. By consciously redirecting your energy toward finding answers, you empower yourself and reduce the emotional charge that fuels anger. Focusing on solutions requires a mindset change. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" or "Who is to blame?" ask yourself, "What can I do to make this better?" or "How can I move forward?" This shift in questioning helps to break the cycle of negative thinking and opens the door to constructive action. It also encourages creativity and resilience as you look for ways to overcome obstacles rather than dwell on setbacks. When you concentrate on solutions, you take control of your emotional state. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, you become an active participant in shaping outcomes. This sense of agency reduces feelings of helplessness and anger. Even if you cannot change the situation immediately, exploring options and planning steps toward resolution gives you hope and calm. Furthermore, a solution-centric approach improves relationships by promoting collaboration and understanding. When conflicts arise, focusing on how to resolve the issue rather than blaming others helps maintain respect and open communication. This approach not only minimizes anger, but also fosters trust and cooperation, leading to better long-term outcomes for everyone involved. Taking care of your physical and mental well-being plays a crucial role in managing anger. When your body and mind are healthy, you are better equipped to handle stress and emotional challenges without becoming overwhelmed. Neglecting self-care can make you more vulnerable to irritation and anger because your energy reserves are low and your emotional resilience is diminished. Self-care encompasses various practices, including regular exercise, proper nutrition, sufficient sleep, and relaxation techniques such as meditation or mindfulness. Physical activity releases endorphins, which naturally boost your mood and reduce stress hormones that contribute to anger. Eating balanced meals ensures your brain and body have the nutrients they need to function optimally, helping you stay calm and focused. Sleep is particularly important because lack of rest impairs your emotional regulation. When you are tired, even small annoyances can trigger disproportionate anger. Prioritizing good sleep hygiene, like maintaining a regular sleep schedule and creating a restful environment, can dramatically improve your ability to stay calm under pressure. Meditation and mindfulness practices also strengthen your ability to observe your emotions without immediately reacting, fostering a peaceful state of mind. Ultimately, self-care is an investment in your emotional stability. By listening to your body's needs and giving yourself time to recharge, you build a strong foundation to face life's challenges without succumbing to anger. When you consistently nurture yourself, you become more patient, empathetic, and solution-oriented, creating a virtuous cycle that promotes lasting peace and emotional well-being. In a world full of stress, misunderstandings, and constant challenges, mastering our anger is one of the most powerful things we can do for our peace of mind and the well-being of those around us. Though anger is a natural emotion, it does not have to control our actions or define our character. By understanding our triggers, practicing empathy, breathing through the intensity, focusing on solutions, nurturing patience, and taking care of ourselves, we take back control of our emotional responses. Remember, true strength lies not in how loudly we react, but in how calmly we respond. Choose peace, not just for others, but for yourself. Thank you.